This is DJI's brand new drone, Mavic 3, and look, it has a muzzle so it doesn't bite you. The reason why it has a muzzle is because behind the muzzle we have this camera which has a micro four thirds sensor, and it can record videos up to 5.1K in 50 frames per second or 4K in 120 frames per second. It is surrounded with cameras, which gives this drone an omnidirectional object sensing feature. And this one is the Cine version, which means it has a 1 terabyte SSD in it, because this version can record in ProRes 422 HQ. Oh boy, we have a long intro where I'm gonna repeat all of this in a lower voice. So let's get through it because there's a lot to talk about. After 3 years of waiting, it is finally here. This is DJI Mavic 3. It has a 20 megapixel Hasselblad Micro Four Thirds CMOS camera with 24mm lens that has a variable shutter. It can shoot videos up to 5.1K 50 frames per second or 4K 120 frames per second, and it delivers 12.8 stops dynamic range. But who says one camera is enough? Mavic 3 has a second camera which has 12 megapixel 1/2 inch CMOS sensor with 162 f4.4 tele lens that can shoot videos up to 4K 30 frames per second, which is great when you want to get close without getting close. Mavic 3 can fly for 46 minutes and it has a top speed of 75.6 kilometers per hour. Thanks to the new O3 Plus, Mavic 3 has 15 kilometer range, and it can send you 1080p 60 frames per second footage to your controller. When it comes to advanced features, Mavic 3 is equipped with obstacle sensing in every direction. With APAS 5, you have Mavic 3 fly around obstacles while you capture your smooth footage. And with Active Track 5, Mavic 3 follows you while avoiding obstacles all around it. If you get the Fly More combo, it comes with 3 batteries, battery charging hub, 6 pairs of propellers instead of 3, ND filters, and a really nice bag that turns into a backpack. And if you get the Cine premium version, it comes with all of that, plus the brand new smart controller, and you can record your videos in ProRes 422 HQ onto Mavic 3's built-in 1 terabyte SSD. This then is an Inspire 2 with Zenmuse X5S squeezed into Mavic's form. And as you can imagine, with Micro Four Thirds sensor, 5.1K 50 frames per second video, a second camera, omnidirectional object sensing, Wi-Fi 6, and all other new features, Mavic 3 also has a new price tag. But all that is about to make sense when you see what this dragon can do. Watch this. Oh, I'm in the frame. Well, yeah, that's all I have. And the reason for that is because the firmware that activates most of the most exciting features is not here yet. So, yeah. So let's talk about other stuff while we wait for that firmware. Let's begin with design. Once again, DJI did a fantastic job. Whoever is designing these drones, they have a really good eye for these kind of things. Once again, this thing looks like a sports car mixed with a spaceship, and it is beautiful. It is mean, and it just belongs in the sky, and it just flies so good, and it feels quieter. When I put the decibel meter next to it, that doesn't tell the full story because it's all about the frequencies and stuff, but this thing feels a little quieter, and the propellers doesn't have that little thing yet at the end, but this material at the end feels different. It's a little sticky thing. Maybe there's something happening there, but it feels quieter, and I'm gonna test this when I have more time. And at the back here we have the USB-C connection and the SD card slot, mini SD card slot. And we have this new battery system which locks in pretty good, and there's no way you can put this upside down or any way wrong. And it feels very sturdy, and yeah, this thing feels like a Mavic should feel. And somehow it is lighter than Mavic 2. If you're wondering what features are not activated, it is 4K 120 frames per second, which how we get the really nice looking sharp slow motion for our videos. And Active Track 5, because of its omnidirectional object sensing, I am really curious about Active Track 5. I feel like this is going to be a really good drone that avoids obstacles, that can follow you around while you do your stuff. And since it has such a high quality camera and it has such good quality tracking that keeps you in the center, it's not like I'm guessing it's not gonna make you at the corner of it's not gonna put you in the corner of the screen. It's gonna keep you in the center of the screen while it's tracking you. I cannot wait to see it. And then master shots, which is something I don't care, but it is the feature where the drone does its own tricks when it understands the environment. And then the last thing that is not activated is the quick transfer, which uses Wi-Fi 6. I don't know when they're coming, but when they come, I'll be testing them and either making a video about it or follow me on my Twitter where I'll be tweeting about those stuff. The other two versions of Mavic 3 comes with the remote that we know and love from the previous Mavic drones, Mavic Air 2S and such, which is a good remote controller, but I expected something a little more fancier. Yes, Mavic 3 Cine comes with this amazing new RC Pro remote controller. That is a newer version of the smart controller, but I wanted this one to have something more different than the one we have on the Air 2S. It doesn't have the buttons underneath the remote, and I think it would have been nice because this Mavic is the drone that represents DJI. It's a really important drone for DJI. This controller that comes with the Mavic 3 Cine version is fantastic. This is actually so much better than the smart remote controller we have. It's a lot faster. The buttons are really nice. We have two buttons down here for, you know, turning the lights on or recentering the gimbal. And then we have a couple of buttons here. We have two dials right here, and then we can take photos, start recording videos. And the joysticks, they feel better. They're easy to control. They just stick to your finger really nicely, and they come off. And they change the antennas, as you can see, and you can rotate the antennas like this, which was something we weren't able to do with the previous smart remote controller. This is pretty nice. And it has a newer version of Android which supports these kind of gestures, which makes it really easy to use. I like this remote controller a lot. This remote controller comes in very handy because you set up faster, and then you don't have the distractions that you may have on your phone while flying a drone. For example, no one can call me on my remote while I'm flying a drone. So I like using this. It takes more space in the bag, but when it comes to flying and just being distraction free, this remote is something I prefer. It also has an HDMI out, USB-C port, and a micro SD card slot. The screen is really bright. It's really easy to see. This is a good remote. Having a micro four thirds sensor on a camera like this is amazing. You can tell the difference immediately. When I switched to 1-inch sensor from smaller sensors, yeah, there was a difference, but the difference that you see when you switch to micro four thirds is like night and day. Unfortunately, even if I fly here right now, it's all super foggy and there's not much to see, and it's been that way for a couple of days now. And I was trying to delay the shoots as much as I can because I was expecting the firmware to arrive. But from the sunset I got and from the shot I got a couple of minutes ago, it just looks fantastic. Oh, the apex is on, so when I go towards the camera, it's avoiding the camera. It's not letting me go towards the camera at all. Yep, it avoids me, and it shows on the screen. In the sport mode, is it deactivated? Yep, it is deactivated. Flies really good. And sideways too. Yes, it avoided me and it avoided the camera. I cannot wait for Active Track 5. This is going to be really interesting. And another thing I realized is the descent speed. This thing descends so fast. Oh yeah, it's pretty fast. Let's see if we can get a depth of field feel with the Micro Four Thirds. It has 1 meter minimum focus distance, so let's switch to manual focus. Yeah, look at that. There's a beautiful depth of field. When you tap on this binocular, we gotta stop recording and then hit on this binocular to enable the explore mode, and then hit record again. Probably I need to go back a little bit. All right, so let's zoom in. This is 1x, 2x, 4x, 7x. I think this is when we switch to the other camera. So this must be, yeah, so this is good. This is sharp. But then at 14, it still looks sharp here. And then 28 is when it's like, what, wait, where am I? And going back to 1. So wait, can I put it in 7 and go a little lower and circle around me? Looks like a Britney Spears video. So here are my initial thoughts about Mavic 3. It is really impressive. Yes, Micro Four Thirds sensor is fantastic. This thing flies fantastic, maneuvers fantastic, looks fantastic, the remote is fantastic, everything is really good. But it is really hard to conclude the review without the promised features like 4K 120 or Active Track 5, which I'm waiting to be wowed, by the way. So I'm gonna hold on to my final decision until I see those things. But I understand why this drone is more expensive than the previous generation, because I feel like now this is in the inspired category. The only thing missing is the interchangeable lens, but other than that, Micro Four Thirds sensor, the second camera, all those features, 40 something minutes flight time, it is boring. It's too much. So all of that is fantastic. With the Cine version, you get the ProRes 422 HQ, which is really important if you know the value of ProRes and if you want to work fast. And the other drones, the other DJI drones has caught up to Mavic 2, and some of them actually have better features than Mavic 2. So I feel like everything shifted a little bit. So if there's an Inspire 3, for example, I wonder what's that gonna be like. But so far I understand the pricing. I love this drone and I cannot wait. Come on. I held on to my review until the last minute. It is 9 a.m. right now and this video is gonna go live on 7:30. This is how long I waited. Even though the footage on this one looks really good, I'm guessing with the firmware update, it's gonna look even better. So I'm gonna put the muzzle back on. People get so confused about these camera protecting thingies that they made it this simple now. It's like, if you can't put this on, if you can't put this easy strap on, come on now, come on, yeah. So yes, DJI, we're waiting for you. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm very excited. I'm very excited, but this is what we have. It happens. Life is like this. But please let me know what you think about Mavic 3, Mavic 3 Fly More Combo, and Mavic 3 Cine. Are you gonna pick one up? Are you interested in these drones? What are your thoughts about it? This is really exciting. It makes it worth carrying something this big for me. I cannot wait. I'm gonna go somewhere with this. We gotta go somewhere. I'm not gonna have the regular, you know, a little Griffith, a little Santa Monica, a little Point Vicente video. I wanna go somewhere with this and get a really nice looking footage. All right, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon. My MacBook Pro is coming today, so I'm very excited.